have someone come up to me in an event, and you can usually, at least the way I have my settings, you can tell if someone's new. Because if they're a new user or a visitor, I see the gray robot. So I go, all right, that person's new. I'm paying attention to them and watching their body language. And a lot of the time they run into an event, especially lately, and they look around just flabbergasted, like looking at everything and everyone going on. And I walk up to them and I ask,
hello, welcome back to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion.
I'm a Loud Raptor.
What?
Oh boy. And hi, we have 4 guests here today. I'm gonna smack you and call you mom. And you are boy.
It's daddy to you.
Oh, shut up. Just shut up. And our guests are here today, our 4 people. You are oh boy.
I'm Brohammer Inc. I'm the founder and creator of the QCC.
Oh.
I'm gigglelord, the admin, community, event host, and event planner.
Oh.
I am vrvoicesmith. I am staff with QCC, specializing in collabs and event organization.
Oh. So, what is QCC and how did it all get started?
Hey, ass!
What?
Whoa, wait a minute, hold the thought. You forgot the gentleman on the end. What the hell? You forgot he was here or what? Holy shit. Jesus Christ, what the hell? He's just back there fucking checking the woodwork, making sure the chairs are straight. Oh, boy.
That's where he should be.
I won't be surprised. I'm usually the odd man out that goes something really ridiculously crazy.
Yeah.
The name is Sidian. I'm a member of the QCC.
Oh, well, thank you very much for joining us. Sorry, skipping over you. I deeply apologize.
Well, I'm not that fucking tall you couldn't see him. What the hell? You think I'm a blocking wall or what?
No, you're just kind of small. I forget you're there sometimes.
Oh, shit. Here we go. So, back to what you were saying, sir.
Oh.
Well, where did we leave off? Go ahead.
I'll ask
give
the
me a
question
prompt
again.
and
I'm
I'll
sorry.
respond.
What is the QCC and how did it get started? Yeah.
So the QCC is the Quest Compatible Clubbing community. To start from the beginning of where the community was founded and the idea of it really starts back when I watched a video from FIA and the virtual reality show in that community. They were doing a video or expose on different clubbing venues and different rave scenes within the VR or in VRC, which got me really interested in attending the some of those clubs and venues. But at the time, I was on standalone headset, so I did my research. I found what I could, and then I stumbled upon Party Hub, which is a fantastic Discord and community that promotes a lot of different PC venues. And stumbling upon that Discord, they had a section in it that was Quest compatible clubbing in that. So I found a few different communities like the Palace, Shots and Pots, TJ's Tavern, that's another one. And I started attending these events and having a really good time. And having that social outlet, even on as a Quest standalone user, was incredibly nice. And I made friends quickly. Met a lot of good people from the community, and then I thought to myself, there's not really a hub or asset for Quest standalone users to find this information about these communities. So I wanted to create the groundwork for a centralized hub, and that's kind of how the QCC got started, the Discord and the community itself.
Wow. So, is there many issues with from the Quest standalone side of things with VRchat that you have found that didn't have any of those things drive you?
I feel like the issue that I found was just the lack of information. When I came into it, it took me a very long time to find anything. There was no resource out there to be able to find these different communities that were doing all this work to make their communities Quest compatible and their venues. So it really drove me to try to create a centralized hub for that, so that way standalone users wouldn't be excluded from this, because it really helped me grow as a person, to be honest, to be able to socialize with people and get over a lot of social anxiety, to be honest. So I wanted to help other people find that as well.
Oh, wow. So, how has the whole scene helped you, may I ask?
I've got to say my confidence in VR is directly affects my life and helps me be more confident and able to interact with people on a daily basis. And it's just helped me be more confident in who I am and my beliefs, and helped me dial in who I am, to be honest, and not say that word again, but
Mm. Wow. So, may I ask both of all three of you, how did you get involved with Quest compatible clubbing?
Oh,
I
so I got involved because just like Brohammer, I ended up with a Quest 2 headset about 2 years ago now. That was originally my partner, and I tried out Vrchat on it. And after the first few experiences in a toxic public black cat, I'm like, what is going on here? You dropped the game. A few months later, came back, and I found TJ's Tavern and the Hangar, Shots and Bot. Really was enjoying myself deep in conversation, and then unfortunately crashed after making some great friends. And immediately I went. I found out about Discord communities. I made friends with different people on here, and I saw things on YouTube. For me, it was Thrill Seekers videos about VR chat on PC, and went to town building myself a
Wow.
PD. And I've been meeting people. I think I met Brohammer through Ķeebs, and he actually. I woke up one day and I was an admin of the Discord. And the rest is history.
that's a very simple way to put it, but yes.
Yeah.
My name is vrvoicesmith, and I got involved in the QCC a couple months ago. I've just been clubbing with my friends, and I met some staff and got to know the QCC. I got really involved in arranging collabs and communicating with other groups and things like that. And then I became staff, and I've been getting events organized and have really fun doing collabs and just really enjoying getting involved in the QCC overall. It's been a blast, and I've loved getting involved with clubbing.
Mm. So,
When, hold on. She brought the subject up. Since I asked this with everybody, if you've ever watched her videos and everything, this deals with all of you. When you first got into VR, you brought it up, Giggles. The first thing that you saw when you got into VR and you're going, holy shit, I gotta get the frick out of here. No way in hell I'm gonna hang in this group. What was one of your experiences that you're going, whoa?
Well, it was mostly
Everybody go silent.
I was gonna let Giggle go ahead, Giggle.
Yeah,
Well, it
started to giggle.
it was well, there's been a few experiences when I was newer, just toxic vitriolic language in public is very cringe.
Mm.
The
But
children as well.
yeah, but actually in a more recent event, a strange time of night, and it was essentially me, a DJ friend, and I ran into a stranger who immediately started sexually harassing us, so we blocked him. So it's usually just things like that. But there hasn't really been anything insane that I haven't seen elsewhere on the internet. I don't know.
Mm.
I gotta say, it was a lot of just young children being really toxic and aggressive, yelling every slur and curse word you could imagine, and just screaming and being
Yeah.
ridiculously, ridiculously unfun to be around. So it really put me off in the beginning as well, until I was able to find some of these clubbing communities.
Hmm.
For sure, definitely. I
And
feel
like,
like when I
yeah.
first got into VR, there was a lot of worlds that I would go to initially, like, and just kind of first exploring, and you see all these like kids and just being absolutely toxic. But then you just, after adventuring for a while and finding more and more worlds, you can find some really cool worlds, where you can meet a lot of chill people, and there's little to no kids, which is nice.
Hmm.
Same here, although I was kind of a bit careful and cautious about it. Um, my first interest in VR was by accident, in which usually when I was watching Twitch, I usually would watch DJs done the streaming until one night when I was watching a DJ from Vancouver raided somebody else. I thought I was watching an animation. I thought, it's just only a cartoon. Then when I was watching it, wait a minute, why is this cartoon reacting to the music? So I started checking out who this person is, and then VRChat came into play. So pretty much for the first 2 years, I was just watching from afar through Twitch, and then on the eve of on New Year's Eve of 2022, I decided to jump into the rabbit's hole by just going VR for the first time on New Year's Eve, and I started on desktop mode, and then on November of 22, I chanced upon to get Quest 2, and things went really surreal from there.
Hmm.
Good thing that I was managed to avoid the public worlds
Yeah,
because of the children and the kids.
the
And
public
by chance,
scourge.
I just joined into a community, and then one of them I met Brohammer and TJ's, and I started hanging around with these guys along with a few communities as well.
Hmm.
My role being a member of this club is just not sitting in the sidelines and likewise going to the parties as well. I also contribute as well, given the fact my background is IT, and I usually share a few technical information as well, which I hope would benefit with the members of the community as well.
Hmm.
So that's one way
And that's
Ooh,
how I got
that's a
myself in
that's a
there.
good point. That's a good point to bring up it as well. The QCC is not just about finding these Quest compatible venues, which is hard to do. We also have a whole section about tech and settings and
Yeah.
how to optimize everything. And Giggle and CDN have been huge and instrumental in that aspect. So
Hmm. So,
Because the problem is that the information is so scattered. It's either so scattered or too technical or out of date. So we
hmm.
started to
hmm
have a forum within our community to put some relevant technical information with regards about Quest 2 and now Quest 3.
Hmm. So is the quest?
yeah, exactly.
Ooh, sorry. I was gonna say, is the quest series easy
no,
for new people to get into, like with all the settings and stuff, or is it? Does it take a lot of research?
absolutely. I mean, when I started, I am not a computer person. I have never owned a computer in my life up until I think 8 months ago now. Um, and I didn't know really anything. There are a few hurdles you have to get over, but if you have that information available and a support network like the QCC, and people can kind of just walk you through it and are willing to take that time or have provided it on the Discord, it
Mm.
really helps. Like when I started, I didn't have all these answers, but the Palace and Shots and Pots were very instrumental about sitting down with me and telling me how to adjust my settings. So I'd say it's really easy to get into. It just helps to have that extra information so you don't crash, like turning off avatars and how to turn your voices down. And now earmuff mode wasn't even a thing at the time. So they've done a lot of things. I would say it's easier now than it was even a year ago or even 8 months ago. And they've
Months
really done
ago.
a lot to make, yeah,
Months ago.
they've done a lot to really streamline the process. So anybody who's can get a Quest 2 can hop in, come enjoy all of these different Quest compatible venues
Hmm.
very easily.
So is clubbing on Quest a big thing? Because unfortunately I've never used a Quest headset. I've always been an Index since day one, so I have no idea if it's a big thing here in VRChat or not.
Absolutely. Our community, when we run events, sometimes we'll max a world out to 80 and have a queue, and I would say at least 40% to 60%, depending on the event, will be Quest users. So, and the more and more the headsets are becoming more standalone and have more power, the more and more Quest users are becoming more a part of the scene
Hmm.
and a bigger part of it. That's what I mean.
Wow, I had absolutely no
Exactly.
idea.
Yeah, yeah, especially
Um,
that the world that we usually go to are, well, Quest is that's actually Android, not Quest now, and that it's going to be PC and both PC and Android compatible in all the venues that we go into.
Hmm.
So, and I won't be surprised down the road that some of us here will be dealing with other Android-based headsets like Pico, for example. So
Absolutely. That's a very
that's
good
gonna be
point.
that's gonna
There's
change
more
the
competition that comes out.
dynamic in the whole scheme of things.
Hmm. Yeah, didn't Pico add VRChat very recently to their roster of things you can play on it? Oh,
yes, they did.
Standalone? Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, the cool thing about our community is that, and it's kind of essentially our goal, is to connect Quest standalone users, Pico standalone users, people on an Android mobile cell phone that's now in beta and free, with primarily music events,
Hmm.
because they need to have a world that's cross compatible, both for PC as well as for these other devices. And so anyone who uses those devices part time can pop onto our community, go to our really cool bi-monthly-ish events, or imagine I'm finger gunning as well.
Yeah.
Or we have channels in the Discord. Nice. We have channels in the Discord. And every time we find out about a Quest compatible event or a group that sometimes does Quest compatible events, like if they have multiple worlds, they can pop onto these lists of channels and go, oh, this is going on in 2 or 3 hours. Let me go attend it. And we also collaborate with other Quest compatible communities. And now we're connected with, God, dozens of them.
More than dozens.
Yeah.
I couldn't even count the amount of communities that we work with. And we try to when we actually collaborate with the community, we really try to spend time making sure it's a very positive staff, very positive community because we want people that are coming into the scene, brand new to it, to have a positive experience and be able to not have to deal with a lot of the toxicity that you see in Publix.
Hmm.
So we only try to
Absolutely.
push and promote, yeah, very positive communities.
Definitely. Something that's very exciting too, and I'm really excited for with the QCC is another group that I'm staffed with, Quantum Networks. We've recently partnered with them, and they created a quest friendly mega world that has different venues, and the QCC's venue is currently being developed right now in that world.
Oh, wow.
So if you obviously know VRU Oasis and that kind of centralized where they have the multiple maps and do venues on different nights, Quantum Network has basically done that. Um, but it's all Quest compatible, and they're currently developing a map for us as well in there. And they've
Oh, wow.
developed maps for quite a few communities, like Crucible. They just released a remake of the original world in there. So really, really cool stuff that Quantum Networks is doing. They definitely deserve a shout out.
Oh, wow. May I
Yeah.
ask
We're very excited.
who Quantum Networks is?
Quantum Networks is a group, and we make the Quest compatible clubbing world. so that everyone can come and enjoy music. We make them for different venues, and something that we're really big on is being friends with the groups that we partner with over business associates. So that's something we're really big on. But we just have this world so that people can go to these venues and just have a blast, and Quest and anyone that could go would be able to access that. It's a 18 plus community, and we've got a bunch of new venues that are going to be in the works here soon. But we just
And they've
getting involved.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna add on, they've done a fantastic job with optimizing their worlds. I think we maxed out their world and had a queue
Yeah.
the other night, and
Yeah, it had a
I
queue.
didn't have,
Yeah.
I didn't hear any Quest users saying they were crashing. So they've done a really good job and focused really hard on making sure that everything runs really well for Quest users and standalone users and Android users in general.
Yeah, for sure. It was really exciting. We hit cap in that world, and then a few people were noticing, like when they looked down and up, they would lose some frames. But Dimensional was able to get to fix that and add audio calling in the world within a matter of hours. I went into the venue, told everyone to rejoin, and it fixed the issue.
And they're very professional and very quick about their turnaround time when they develop something or if they see an issue, they're on top of it immediately. So
Wow.
Yeah, we love staying in close communication with the groups, giving them what is through, and being very transparent and in touch with who we're working with.
Oh wow. So are there any differences between running a club for quests that's quest compatible versus PC only? And is there any differences how that either groups run, or they're very similar?
To be honest, they're very similar. Obviously, PC worlds are gonna have a little bit nicer graphics sometimes. The venues are a little bit more fleshed out because a lot of people that are doing the quest compatible world building, a lot of people haven't dialed into that niche as much, but you're seeing it more and more. So I would say, yeah, you're gonna get a little bit better graphics in some PC worlds, but not all of them. And the gap is closing every day, and it's becoming very much a similar experience between the two.
Really? That's actually pretty awesome to hear. I've noticed this year there's been a lot of changes to a lot of like VR chat, especially in the club worlds, where I feel like everything's changed like on a dime once 2023 hit. Like everything from like club worlds to regular worlds, game worlds. And I'm glad to see there's a lot more quest compatible things coming too, because it's
A lot more inclusion, yeah.
I'm glad to see it all.
It's
Yeah.
good to see.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
not to
What's that?
mention that also VRChat itself has made these massive improvements to Quest. They've improved upon and added more shaders, avatars, and that can be viewed on Quest. They've also they now have a new feature, which some of you may have out. But if you're on a standalone device and you go to try to show someone's avatar, you know, most of the time they're very poor avatar that looks really, really cool, it'll say on top that you're out of memory. And it's doing that to prevent your device from crashing. It's calculated how much memory you've spent and how much you have left. And so essentially you have to manually turn someone else's avatar off, so hide it, and then show that one. And I swear with our members it's gone from people crashing 20 or more times in a night to not at all.
Oh
once.
wow.
Absolutely. That is a fantastic
VR
point.
chat's really VR chat's really helping develop this Android based ecosystem, and they're making it work, which is really impressive to me.
So have issues like that been very common?
They were. The crashing, when you would get towards 60, 50 people, it would definitely start being a problem for Quest users. I would say even 3 months ago. I feel like this is a really recent update, and The way they've got it
Yeah,
now, I've
I think
heard people crash very rarely nowadays. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think when they updated the Unity engine around that time, things started to improve, especially for the Quest users.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that helped a lot.
absolutely.
very good update because what would happen is it'd get to about that number and then the quest users would just drop. They would just get really low on frames and sometimes just start dropping out once it hit to a certain number. But we've seen massive
Yeah.
improvements, so it's really good to see.
Massive improvements, absolutely.
Hmm. You had a question, Raptor?
Yeah, I have one. Going through what you guys are saying and everything else in feed, I'm a Quest player. Everything else like this, but I've got mine. It's not hot wired to the system. It's virtual desktop feed and everything else like this. And then I had to upgrade a computer. I'm hooked to a laptop that's souped up to beat hell compared to my desktop because it's an antique almost. But when you go through your process of people coming up to you that are quests and everything else like that, what direction do you push them? Well, it's not really pushing, giving them advice, what they're doing and everything else. You know, you get a lot of, I can imagine how many quest people you get per day that are asking this, that, knowing that you got an event going on and stuff like this. What methods do you do to help people like me, being a questie, that, you know, and Lion goes through it with me all the time, and I'm an old guy, you know, I'm older than shit, so, and he has to take 20 minutes to get to the fucking get. Well, I'm 54, so I'm like walking on eggshells half the goddamn time. So it's just.
You're still young.
How old are you?
59 in 7 days.
He's gonna be. You said 59.
In 7 days.
59 in 7 days, and I've seen a 73-year-old woman in here. It just blew my mind. And this woman was acting. What got me? Hey, you gotta understand. It was weird because she actually bought it for her grandson. I don't know how old her grandson was, but she was 73 years old, and this girl was walking in circles over guys that been on here for 2 or 3 years. And you're just going, huh? I mean, she's right on back and forth talking to her son, and you could hear him in the background. You got to do this. She had it all screened up, and she was Quest, and she was just walking. People just flocked around this, wondering how this 73-year-old woman knew all her shit. And I mean, I was standing there going, well, I'm lost. I'm fucking lost. How in the hell do you know all this crap? She goes, it's just one of those things and everything else like this. Later on down the road, she goes, I watch a lot of YouTube and I pay attention to every freaking detail. I wanted to make sure my grandson didn't have any trouble once he got in. And she was setting it up every inch of the way for him, and she was in it for like almost 8 hours. Sat in Black Hat, and it was funny because I thought the funniest part out of the whole deal. Yeah, I haven't seen her since. She added me, but I have not seen her since. And she turned around, and a bunch of little kids started coming up, and she goes, you know something? If I knew your mother bought it, I mean, all of a sudden I saw grandma mode kick in. You and I were going, whoa, and everything else like this. You're just going, these kids calmed down like some monster just chewed their foot off. It was funny. And everything else like this. They all got quiet, and she went back to what she was doing because somebody was asking her a question, and she was trying to help them out and everything else like this. But I've never seen a woman so organized for a quest setup to know the ins and out. And you got to realize this has been over 4 years ago. So you can imagine when it was hot and it was coming out. I bought mine when they first made the Quest 2 and had problems with it. And I had to get another one because the battery situation into them were all screwed up and all this kind of, it still sits out in the living room. But yeah, it's just one of those things. So what method do you guys go? I got off ramping again like I usually
Yes, you do.
What directions you got? What do you guys do when you get a bunch of people coming up and going, hey, I've got a problem, but I'm not for sure what I'm doing wrong and everything else? Because it takes... some people like me, I got to do it multiple times before I get it to a knack. And once I got it, I never have to worry about it again. And I pass the buck to somebody else because somebody showed me and they asked and like this. What routes do you guys do going through all that?
I think Giggle should take this one because they're kind of more of our technical side and they're very good about helping people. So
She and I. in most cases.
Yeah, I mean, just shout out to this guy. He like saved my ass at times. Not gonna lie. Um, brilliant techie person. But basically, like if I have someone come up to me in an event, and you can usually, at least the way I have my settings, I can tell someone's new. Because if they're a new user or a visitor, I see the gray robot. So I go, all right, that person's new. I'm paying attention to them and watching their body language. And a lot of the time they run into an event, especially lately, and they look around just flabbergasted, like looking at everything and everyone going on. And I walk up to them and I ask, like, hey, how's it going? Like, welcome to this event. And you can kind of figure out from there and on if they're having a tech issue or whatever. Usually I know the settings. I don't have perfectly memorized where everything is, so it takes me a second, but I can tell them how to dial it in. And then we can have our conversation. We tell them about, quest compatible clubbing, like, hey, this is a new person. I'll bring, especially at our events, I know most of the people there. I'll bring someone over and be like, hey, this dude's new. Oh, you're new. Welcome. And then they're suddenly making friends like that.
So
That's what
a
we
lot of the
want. We
things
want people to be like comfortable, safe, having fun, and understanding what they're doing, settings that.
I think one of the first things we direct people towards is earmuff mode, especially if they're new, and the safety settings themselves and minimizing
Yeah.
what avatars you can see. And we also try to tell them about there's a setting, I forgot what it's called to be honest, but it's a range to where you can see a certain amount of people in that range and how many
Avatar
you can
culling.
see. So, yeah, avatar culling. Thank you. And we also a big thing I think is for new users that are on standalone headsets or any Android device, is clearing your cache. I think that's a really big one that people don't tell new members a lot because that will completely destroy your video player. It'll be jumpy. The music will be in and out. So I think those are the biggest things we kind of try to push people towards.
So
Yeah. And then number
Yeah.
2 is like, hey, join our community, and like there's
If you're
tech
still
guides
having,
in
yeah.
here. Yeah, we can, and you can you can make friends. Do you like to party? How do you like to party? Like find common interests. We have a lot of people in our community also love to kick it in the VC video chat, and do a bunch of different things in there, and plan events and so on. So
And like they said, I think directing them to our Discord is one of the biggest things we do because we've got all that information in there. We've put the time in to make tech guides and setting guides for people to be able to optimize their settings so they don't crash and are able to function in high capacity events.
So what are some of the common things that you're asked by your goers and new Questy users?
It's normally venues and settings. That's the biggest ones I
Yeah.
would say.
That's the biggest ones.
So what kinds of things have you learned you guys selves while running Quest compatible clubbing, may I ask?
Oh, that's a good question.
so much.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. We've been doing it, I think, about 2 years now, somewhere around there. Maybe a year and a half for the actual community itself. But I think what I've learned from the beginning, with the help of Shots and Pots and the Palace as well, was just dialing in your settings. And yeah, pretty much a lot of the world creation. That would be a good question for a world creator because a lot of it has changed. And optimizing a world for Quest users is much different than doing it for PC users. You have to take the extra step. Um, so that's how I'd answer that one.
What about the rest of you guys? What kinds of things have either of you three learned during your time in Quest compatible clubbing?
Oh, well, I think because of my own journey that I mentioned, where I essentially modified and kind of built a PC for myself, I figured out how to make, I figured out how to dial in the best of my ability, the best settings for PC and for PC connected to a Quest that I can figure out. And I've been reporting a lot of these to the community, so they can essentially kind of follow some of the same steps that I've done. And a lot of those are also other PC VR things. I've learned so much about computers. Um, before I started on my PC VR making journey, I barely knew what a GPU was or a CPU was. Though I had been doing things on the software side and of computers for a long time, out of morbid curiosity from, I don't know, a young age and on. Knowing about the hardware side of things has been really interesting, and I'm interested to see where I could take this. Now, like, I also want. I was actually just talking one of our DJs, Cruisebot, about this today. Him and I have like creative, artistic goals that we want to fulfill. That all loops into these tech things. I want to learn how to be a VJ, do the visuals for DJ performances, get really good at light panels. I want to get a better body tracking system, full body tracking system, and like get better at dancing and like improve upon myself. And that's the kinds of things that I'm learning and picking up from my experience in VRchat, but definitely in QCC because that's where I spend a lot of my time.
Oh,
I've learned a lot about just clubbing here a couple months ago. I've just been getting into it, and then I met this QCC, and then I've just really enjoyed going to the events, and it's been really fun hanging out with Brohammer, Giggle, and some of the other staff. And I feel like, and hanging out with them, I've gotten to, see a lot of really cool venues and meet a lot of really cool people. I just really enjoyed getting involved and then joining into the staff, and now setting up events from stuff. But I think I've learned like, a lot more, that there's like a lot of, groups out there, and there's a lot of venues and a lot of places to go and a lot of fun that you could have in VR chat while you're going to, find a venue or a club to hang out with people and go club.
oh wow. Are there a lot of Quest compatible clubs in VR chat, or is it like a 50-50?
So I'll take
It's
that
50.
one.
Yeah.
It used to be. It used to be really hard to find venues, and it was a small niche of people that were inclusive and trying to make sure that happened because you have to put it into your world creation. Like you have to choose to be Quest compatible. It's not something that just happens. So it used to be a lot less inclusive. And then I would say about when I joined about 2 years ago or so. Um, that's when it started becoming more common. And nowadays, it's it's easy to find a venue in comparison. I would say there's still a lot of PC venues. A lot of your primary ones are going to be your large scale ones are going to be PC only still. But that gap is closing every day.
So, what do you
I
think?
won't be surprised down the road that
Sorry, you continue. My
I won't
bad.
be surprised down the road that those remaining PC only venues, especially the large one, they'll have to adapt into the reality that the Android headsets are gonna come to play. And I mean, with the number of Android-based headsets coming on track, they have no choice but to adapt into it. So, okay, so
I think you're very right with that.
Absolutely.
You could see a lot of the new headsets are going standalone. Like with the Deckard, you have the Vive XR Elite, you got the Pico, and a whole bunch of other new headsets. And I think the standalone Android format is going to be a growing tech direction. So I think you are very
Absolutely.
right there. Um, What do you think causes a lot of the hesitancy for some of those communities to go Quest compatible?
It's a lot of work to revamp a map. You basically
Yeah.
have to recreate the venue almost in it because it's two separate instances basically. What Quest users are in is a totally separate instance than what the PC users are. Even if like the people are still there, like you're gonna see everybody, but it is actually technically a different instance that the Quest users are seeing. So it's a lot of work and time, and a lot of the older PC communities don't have the need for new members
Mm.
and aren't worried about being inclusive because they don't need to be. So it's not even so much hesitancy, just not necessity would be what I would say.
Mm.
Right, for sure.
I
And
think,
something that they have to do that's very important is they have to, there's a
yeah,
certain amount of megabytes that Quest users can, there's a cap out. And then once it hits that, that's the most that the Quest can do. So it's just about keeping it below that amount for Quest.
yeah.
But it requires a lot of optimizing, a lot of work, and a lot of collaboration and just focus on getting that done to have a world where that can be possible. But for some older venues, they've had a PC and they're going to be that way for a while. But we're seeing more and more Quest and PC worlds come up, and worlds that are focusing on
It's mostly just
optimization,
about
which
putting
is
the
very
work
exciting.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of the
I'm not
newer
surprised that
communities.
I'm not
Go ahead.
surprised that even if they wanted to, they'll be facing some technical challenges because they have to balance the two technologies together. I
Mm.
mean, they don't want to let.
Hmm.
I mean, given the fact that the PC side is pretty much stable, they don't want to leave them behind. I mean, let's face it. Some people have a strong preference to go for Revive Index or the usual standard PC onlys.
Mm.
So putting to optimize a world that could satisfy both technologies faces will they will face a lot of challenges
Mm.
in order to meet
And
both
there
of them.
there there is a small amount of PC gatekeeping where they think that Quest users are not below them per se, but if you haven't spent the money and you haven't got all of the technology, they just don't think you should be there. And that comes a lot from public worlds and seeing standalone users being incredibly toxic. But now, as the clubbing community advances and people have options, it's becoming less and less like that. So
Mm.
that's becoming something of the past.
Notice
But
that
it
as
is
well.
there's a small yeah, there's a small portion of that that still exists. So
Mm. Is
And to kind of sorry,
oh no.
to kind of finish up on that point. I think definitely world creation. I do know a few people and have a few friends because I do spend a lot of time in worlds, but where they legitimately will not visit one that is Quest compatible.
Mm.
Just because they're worried about some users in there potentially being underage,
Mm.
which I know is another thing VRchat's working on. But other things they're worried about is a low quality venue or other things that I think are really legitimately non-issues.
Mm.
Um,
and not anymore,
but
not
it
anymore.
definitely happens.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I
But
could understand their kind of thought process with that and why they would think that, but it's different now. And the people that have been running these PC venues have been doing it for so long, and the people that go to it have seen things like even 4 years ago, and it was a completely different scene, and that is totally understandable to think that way or feel that way, but times are completely changing, and those it's not like that anymore, so.
Mm.
yeah, lower
Mm.
barrier of entry. That's the whole Quest compatible thing.
Mm. Well, I personally. Whoa. Oh, I broke that. Huh. Eh, it'll buff. If you're enjoying this, please, I would heavily suggest to follow us on any of our social media. If you go down in the thingamabob, down that way, we have a card, metaversedegen.card.co, with all our social media.
feel free to come follow us at any of those places. We've got Discord. We hang out there all the time. Feel free to come chat. Also, we have a Patreon with 2 people who joined up now, and I'm going to give them a little bit of a shout out. One of which is Training Fangs, who's a really good friend of ours, and Forbidden Zero, and also a good friend. So please come follow us, come hang out. Oh, that's my cue to go. Enjoy the video.
Really very glad that things like the Quest is out there for people to get in here, because I enjoy being in VR very much so, and I want like to see other people, even if you can't spend $4,000 to $10,000 on an insane PC VR rig. Being here is great, especially with people like you guys offering events and another avenue to go. I'm glad these things are out there for people to reach out to, because it's no longer just the screaming squeakers in the black hat sharing funny 5-letter words every 6 seconds.
And we've really tried to push that standard of professionalism and politeness with our community and our staff. We have very high standards with the people that work for us and work with us, because we need to prove that we aren't those people, and we don't deal with that. We nip it in the butt really quickly if anybody enters our community like that. Sometimes I get a little flack for being a banhammer, but I am very protective of my community, and if you are showing toxic traits and you're acting childish, you're gonna get removed very quickly.
Oh, I'm screwed.
Sorry, Raptor. You get to find a new group to go bug.
There's a degree. There's a degree.
Oh, son of a bitch. God damn.
Wild and
Damn, there
crazy
goes
guys,
that.
but-
No more. I don't get my punch card to get my new toaster. Oh, shit. I've been
Raptor,
working on that for years.
Based on your mouth, your
What?
punch card's maxed out and has been maxed out for a very, very long time.
Hey, I just say it how it is. I just say it how it is, you know. That's the way I look at the world. It's just, if you don't say what's on your mind with a little bit of gratitude, usually I don't punch it to anybody or anything like that. Usually I'm saying it towards myself most of the time. We won't go there.
As long as we have people that are crazy and wild and like just really energetic and but we look for a level of decency. People need to be accepting of others and respectful of their beliefs, and not trying to be aggressive or overly political about some things. And if you're having a private discussion between friends, absolutely fine. If you're trying to do it in general chat, that's a different story.
And also, we love playful banter. I literally put that in the rules that we love playful banter among friends who know each other. And that's excellent. But to contrast, like, all of our instances are moderated of all of our events. Our community is moderated. We want everyone there to be safe and to be having like a great time, clubbing, partying, related activities, figuring out about tech and everything that they really need to enjoy clubbing on any sort of quest setup.
Okay.
And in no terms are we God, I don't want to use this word, but we're not snowflakes. We're rowdy and wild people ourselves.
Snowflakes. Snowflakes.
You can handle
Oh, wow.
banter
Trust
and
me.
playfulness.
Wow, if we get enough of them, can we build a snowman? And leave the carrot out.
That's a whole
I'm not going up
thing.
there. Yeah, well, that works. Hell, I'll have the fire. We'll have a meltdown and have a weenie roast. I'm doing great. What about you?
But we pretty much try to push for people that are open-minded and kind and respectful of other people's views. Like, some people are gonna be a little crazy and say crazy shit at times, and we'll take them aside if it's getting too much. But as long as you're not outright bashing people or trying to force your beliefs onto someone and your ideals,
That's a no-no,
then
yeah.
you'll be totally fine.
So I'm going to ask a little bit of a spicy question. Of the PC users and Quest users you encounter, who do you end up having to talk to more, and why?
Well, that's kind of an easy answer for us, to be honest, because we interact with a larger Quest community and standalone community. Now, if we took those numbers and like try to ratio them, I would say it's pretty even, to be honest. I've had to talk to PC users that are really toxic and really disrespectful to people. I've seen a lot of PC users be really maybe not narcissistic, but really only care about themselves. I've seen that actually more from the PC side, with people being maybe elitist would be a better word, and just more toxic in that manner. I don't see that very often from a lot of Quest members, but it happens from both, I would say. I don't think either side has been something we've had to deal with more if we boil it down because we interact more with the Quest community. But I feel like a lot of the people we've actually had to ban from our Discord were PC users, to be
Oh,
honest,
wow.
over Quest users.
Wow.
I think actually all of
Unfortunately.
them were.
All of them. I don't actually
Wow.
think we've had to ban a single standalone user before.
Oh, wow.
So
So,
Not sure about that, but yeah.
that,
oh,
if not all of them, it is really close to almost all
The
of them. I'd say
PC master race
90%.
mentality.
yeah.
Yes, that
Oh,
elitist
look,
mentality.
look out! I'll be on their list sooner or later.
So,
A lot of
is
arrogance. So
does Vrchat have the from Quest standalone perspective? Is the classism of PC versus Quest that bad?
it used to be. I definitely used to see it more. That gap is closing every day, and people are becoming more like. And a lot of so the people that are that way, that are good people, had bad experiences for years in public lobbies with standalone users.
Mm.
So that was ingrained into their mindset, but that is becoming less and less of a reality. So people are becoming less and less inclined to treat people that way, and I think the elitism and that is closing. There are certain venues and certain types of venues, that is very prevalent in, not to bash any community in particular, but a lot of the dance communities still have,
Mm.
they're all full body and have that kind of mindset. We tend to not work with those kinds of communities because we've had bad experiences with that kind of attitude. We actually just had a community we had to not work with. I think what was that
Oh,
last
yeah.
weekend? Yeah, because of
I
that
remember
exact
that
thing.
one.
So I always am very clear that I don't want our community working with
Mm.
directly dance communities normally. Not all are bad. Not all are going to have that issue, but it's something that I see more prevalently with those kinds of communities.
Mm. Cool. Wow. I was unaware that it was that prevalent in those places. What are some things that are changing that within like the Quest side to make it less that allow PC users to accept them more? Sorry, I had to word that properly. My brain doesn't work. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely
Problem
fine.
if I may take this one.
Go for
I
it.
actually I think a lot of their favorite venues are having an update with a quest map on it. I keep seeing more and more venues do that, and then the quest users come in. They're having an excellent they're having some sort of excellent experience dancing right alongside or socializing or whatever with
Mm.
some other adult on Quest, and they're having a great time and going, "Oh, was I thinking that?
Mm.
I don't know. That's what I think's going on."
Mm. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Hearing that, because I've heard some stories from some people like back in the day, especially around like places like the Black Cat or Midnight Rooftop, where questies have a particular reputation of a certain level of maturity within certain like veteran VR status people. Like they don't see questies as adults; they see them as screaming children.
Absolutely. Interacting
Because
with
some
our
people use that
community,
as a synonym.
It's an it's an
yeah,
unfortunate situation though for the Quest users because
interacting.
yeah,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
because you have to consider how the Quest was marketed,
Mm.
and unfortunately, majority of them were being sold for young kids, and whether they being supervised by their parents or not, okay, because of that proliferation of quest users by kids, and they get into VRChat, guess what happened? They went to the public worlds.
Mm.
And before this ever happened, everything was cool, it's status quo, and even in public. But now you flooded the quest users with kids, and the entire shenanigan comes out on the woodworks. Guess what happened? Everybody bailed out of the public world, and it became, for them, it's persona non grata for going there. So that is the unfortunate situation. And
And
yet a lot of Quest users are trying to fix that problem one way and another.
Mm.
And we're just
and the
part
big
of
thing
the
you'll
solution to
notice,
that problem.
exactly, if you interact with our community versus a public, if you go to any of our Quest compatible events, you'll see adults that are on standalone headsets having great conversations, being polite,
Yeah.
interacting, having a good time, but you don't it's not as been as prevalent. So veteran users are going to have that in their mindset that that's what it is, but
Mm.
it's not that way anymore. It's yeah. If you interact with our community in any of our events, you'll see that it's not like that with the adult community,
Mm.
which is kind of a smaller population when you're talking about the entirety of standalone headset users. I would say probably a good like 60% of people that have a standalone headset are probably younger.
Mm.
But with our community, we 18 plus, and everybody's normally pretty respectful. I even to be honest, our community is we have very few problems. Very rarely do we have any drama or negative interactions, and when we do, we nip that in the butt. And if someone's
Mm.
an issue, we remove them quickly
Mm.
because
Mm.
we want that level of professionalism, and we want people to have a good time and be able to act like adults, which doesn't mean you have to be on your P's and Q's all the time. Not everybody has to be spick and spam, but you need to be
Mm.
able to act like an adult and not a
Mm.
child. To
I
put
hope
it
you
in
don't
layman's
think
Oh,
I'm
I'm
terms.
like
screwed there.
trying to
Yeah.
push you guys in any certain way. I was just kind of curious of that dynamic between the two.
No.
I absolutely love these
No
questions
problem.
because it's something that
Yeah.
needs to be aired out and needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that at all. You did
Exactly.
call us questies though earlier. That's our
Oh,
word. No, I'm
uh,
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
hey, I'm
I don't
sorry.
mind
I'm
that
Hey,
not
at
a
I'm a
all.
questie.
questie.
What the hell? Stop it!
Right?
I'm gonna tell
You're
mom.
not a questie unless you stand alone, okay? That's our word. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Thing that actually popped into my head that I do want to mention is that I've met so many adults, very, very interesting standalone and Quest PC VR linked setups. One
Mm.
DJ I know, for instance, he likes to, he uses VR chat most of the time. They Quest linked to a laptop, but then when he goes to DJ, it's too much for his system. So he just DJs on his laptop and then switches into standalone.
Oh.
Because so so he DJs in standalone, so it's not stressing his PC out.
Mm.
Running the DJ programs and VR chat and VR and Steam VR and everything all at the same time.
Mm.
And another other people, for instance, they might be traveling, traveling for business or something, and they still want to go to clubs during the night, in between their business meetings from their hotel room or such.
Mm.
The standalone headset doesn't require as much internet, as much bandwidth often as linking a Quest to a PC. And so you can get away with hotel internet using standalone. And I know a club owner who does that when he travels. He takes his Quest with him standalone. It's totally portable. There's honestly a lot of adults that use the Quest 2 and the Quest 3 standalone, with especially in this game with newer settings and so on. Great success.
You know,
Great success.
I've seen some buzz about some things for that Meta's working on as well. A couple of them being with the Quest 3, for example, the augmented reality. I've seen a lot of DJs, like especially ones we've talked with, who prefer or starting to prefer the Quest 3 to DJ because they can see their board. And then you got clubs like
Absolutely.
Tuber doing augmented reality overlays with their world, where you could see like parts of the world overlaid in your room. Like I remember seeing a bunch of videos coming out with that. And then there's like the Quest Pro, where it's got like native eye tracking within the headset as well. There's a lot of really cool
Yep.
things
For
coming out of the
yeah,
standalone
that's really
lines.
impressive. So. I think the future will become more and more towards standalone. I hope there's a day where the QCC can stop existing, to be honest. I like having the community. I love doing what we do, but I hope there's a day where it's just everybody's primarily on standalone headsets.
Well, I think that day will come here soon.
I had a
Due to like the fact, like, I want to be honest, being on a PC VR myself, having a cord there next to you all the time when you're trying to move and stuff, and it can get very annoying. So when you're on like the standalones, it's very convenient to be able to just like move around and walk around without worrying about like accidentally hanging yourself from your cord.
Absolutely.
I got a question for him. Where I'm on VR, I'm on Quest and everything else like this. I don't run my system because I use virtual desktop, and usually that's the biggest problem with the link that I've noticed in anything when you go into a big world. It's how much stuff that you're running, even if you're a virtual desktop running on virtual desktop, and then you've got over a toolkit, all that running, so you got the watch and everything on your arm, so you know what time it is and everything else like this. That slows your system down. That's why it's slowing down. I'm running, my new laptop's got a 480 into it and everything else like this, and I'm wired hot, but not to my PC. I'm plugged powered hot, so I can be on here more hours. When you only get 2 or 3 hours on a system and everything else like this, and the battery runs down, well, I've got to stop what I'm doing. I got to recharge the shit and everything else like this. The biggest problem, what I'm seeing is when you have so much you got to do, so you can be on the PC and the Quest side, both sides of it. I appreciate, where it's just strictly, if I just fired this up just as a Quest user, just going in VR chat, I probably won't lag at all because I've got a system that's handling. It's the extra shit you got to do to get the extras to run, the extra programs that are running so hard that's what slows the systems down that I've noticed. Either one, my old PC and everything else. Yeah, well, I run toolkits because I run the toolkits and stuff like this because half the time I gotta, I've been small for 4 years. I'm gonna stay this. That's just my nature. Everybody gives me crap about it, but hey, that's just me. And most people don't pay. Being small is great, and sometimes it has its advantages, especially in any world you walk in, because you hear everything. People. Yeah, well, pretty much. You just walk around and people don't even, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. I'm probably going, mostly it's not being stepped on, but we won't go into that one. But, yeah, it's the situations where it's not just the gear that's having the problem or your PC, it's the crap that you got to run the gear to make it work. And that might be the other reasons why they're lagging so drastically in a world. And I've noticed that. Now, since I've got my new one, I can go into a world that's got 80 people in it, but I just shut down everybody down to a certain size window, like what you guys suggested and everything else like this. You shrink it down, you don't, common sense not to see everybody in the world. Yeah, you're gonna lack like a bomb and you're gonna be out the door in a heartbeat. It's something you learn. But if they get the programs down smaller, the headgear not being so heavy, even Quest, to me, it made no sense to me why you're putting a bomb on your front of your face in a hot situation toaster. That's what you actually got on your face. Why did they not put the battery pack on your hip where where, okay, you got a battery. That when they first came out with the first Quest 2, they had problems with mine did. After charging it 3 or 4 times, the system would not hold a charge, no matter if you had it hot wired
It's the lithium
or not.
batteries.
The lithium battery took a crap and they called it all back. Why didn't they put the system, wire it down to your hip? You're still wireless, but your batteries are on the side. And well, everybody keeps telling me, saying, well, they're not going to make any money. And I go, excuse me? If you're going to play 2 hours on VR and you have an easy quick change to drop batteries in and out, you're going to be buying more batteries, correct? You're going to have an extra charging system and everything else. That's more money that they don't even see. And I go, where do you get this? You know, I'm an old, I've worked on cars and stuff like this. You see a lot of screw ups. They look good on paper, but once it's out on the real world, it looks like a bomb ready to go off. And then, you know, it's just the way it goes.
Engineers.
Well,
Yeah, you can't, you know, it just,
what was your question
I
again?
know I'm ranting. What?
What was the question you're going to
The
ask?
biggest question is do you think in the long run going down the road, if they'd make simpler programs to run so everybody can run in Quest, the virtual desktop, or the toolkits, or the ability to move up and down, so, you know, because not everybody's got colliders, you think it'd be easier for the systems that way, or what? That's my biggest thing.
Oh, so like if it was built into the game,
I feel like-
definitely.
I feel like it'd be a good question. I feel like it'd be a good question for
Theoretically,
CDM, to
it's
be honest.
possible, but I don't think we have the we haven't reached that technology point yet, because that would
Okay.
because you have
Go
to
ahead, Sid.
consider you have to consider not just only the amount of storage you have to put there, but how much processing power do you have to put in if you put this entire everything in one solution headset. I mean, I think we're almost there. I mean, it's just that we haven't reached the threshold in achieving that. I mean, given the fact that we've already have standalone headsets, it's a matter of time to incorporate such an idea into the standalone. But we haven't reached the proper processing power to do that. We're almost at the cusp of it. So I won't be
Okay.
surprised, give it next year or 2 years from now, that may happen. So who knows?
We've had a lot of
Okay.
tech.
I think something that could be interesting for Quest users if they wanted to go for a more extended period of time, and I think I've heard of some people doing this, is you could just get a portable battery and attach it to like a belt, put it like, if you have like, you know, straps for trackers or just different things, you could find some way to attach it to you, maybe a pocket, back pocket, whatever, but then plug that into your headset, and that should give you a good little chunk extra of battery life for something like clubbing or staying on for extended periods of time.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of tech questions and primary community questions. I'd like to see something directed towards Smith here, because you haven't had a lot of time to talk tonight. But as our promoter and somebody who does a lot of communications between communities, do you guys have any questions directed towards him?
Oh, of course. What have been some of the interests that you've seen as a promoter from people looking into Quest compatible clubbing and talking to you?
So a lot of the clubs that I'm involved with are mainly Quest PC compatible clubbing, and I've seen a lot of people that have been moving towards that direction. And something else that's really cool too, if you are a Quest PC compatible venue and world, when you have events and you have a lot of people coming to your world, when you look on trending worlds, they will appear very high up, because VR really likes to prioritize now and showcase worlds that are Quest and PC compatible, so that both Quest and PC, and they're trying to encourage that more. But that's something I've noticed a lot, and it's really cool because Club Crucible has been around for a really long time, and I'm a promoter for them, and their world it's a really cool big world, but it is PC only, and they've got like a bunch of different venues and stuff. But it's really exciting because recently they've partnered with Quantum Networks, and we built a recreation of a old world, an old venue for them within Quantum Networks for them to be able to use that is Quest and PC compatible. I've seen like for another the Park Sua crew that I'm involved with and a promoter for, all of those different worlds that he has are all Quest and PC compatible. Um, and you know, of course, here in the Oasis with Quest compatible clubbing is Quest and PC. So I'm seeing it's from what I've noticed, it seems like a lot of communities and a lot of groups are moving towards that direction, which is really exciting to see.
Hmm. And what are some methods for you when you promote for the Quest compatible clubbings that draw people in?
Well, I think it's the thing that's really cool about Quest compatible clubbing too is that there's a lot of very talented DJs with high production. We have some DJs that are just really talented and have some like great equipment. And we can bring in like we are able to bring in a lot of people as a result, and it's just really fun. I've noticed that that's one big aspect, and when I'm like talking with other groups, and just the availability of also being able to be Quest PC, because that's part of the reason also that we're partnering, and it works out very well. That very into the Quest compatible clubbing and Quantum Networks. We're all about that in Quantum Networks, so it's really exciting to be able to partner with QCC and get started work on that venue, so that they can have a venue within Quantum Networks to go, and all the other venues in there as well are Quest PC compatible. So I've just really been enjoying getting involved, and I'm really enjoying seeing a lot of groups even moving in that direction.
And to touch on that real quick, like Giggle said, some of the DJs prefer to be able to just use their headset disconnected from the computer because some of our DJs have really high quality production value. A lot of our DJs do IRL streams and have awesome backgrounds, and then others have really um, high taxing visuals that cause a lot of issue if they're trying to run everything on their PC, doing all of their um, DJ board, all of that through their PC and their headset connected at the same time. So it actually really helps some of the higher end DJs even to be able to disconnect that and
Hmm.
use the standalone headsets. And you can't do that unless you're Quest compatible. So.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, to kind of piggyback off of that, uh, we have some very talented DJs, just like not to not to
Yeah, to
toot
be
our own
honest,
horns, but just to be completely honest, and they really enjoy coming back and coming to DJ with us. And they just for them we make it simple. It's basically you either have to give us a Twitch link, which is Quest compatible, or you have to give us the VRCDN, which is a low latency service for Vrchat DJing.
which is
They have
not
to give us the specific one that's Quest compatible, and we take those links, pop it in the world. The event is up and running. We got our music, we got our DJs, we got everyone here.
Hmm.
which that's also something to briefly touch on as well. VRChat recently, not incredibly recently, but relatively recently, created it to where you could just use Twitch links straight across for standalone users. When I first started, you had to have a CDN. You could not use YouTube links. You could not just use straight Twitch links into the video player. Nowadays, you can throw a Twitch link or a YouTube video at a standalone user and it'll run just fine. So,
I have noticed that too, and the YouTube videos as well. I remember it was like last year, beginning of this year, you had to put like some short little prefix to the link, and then you'd get the video or Twitch stream.
Right, that would be conversion
Mm.
links, basically like the CDN
Yeah.
or some kind of converter to make it Quest compatible, and that is no longer a thing anymore. You could just throw a link in and it'll work for everybody if your video player is updated. Anybody that hasn't updated their world and their video player to match that, you'll still have issues here. But it's very rare and it's a very easy fix. I hardly ever see worlds that have that issue anymore. So.
Hmm. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people or world builders are constantly updating their assets, so I don't think going forward you'll see much of those issues unless it's like a 2021 world, or what say you?
Absolutely.
Hmm. Hmm. So I'm gonna cut this here. Thank you very much for you
Yeah, I
guys'
think it's a
time, and I
good
greatly
spot.
appreciate getting to speak with you guys. Where can people find you if they wish to look out and reach out to you?
So we are very lucky to have very easy links. Our Discord link, our tag is literally QCC, all lowercase. That's it. So if you want to find us, the Discord's probably the easiest way. I don't know if I have the group link on hand. Do you, Giggle?
1
Well,
second.
But
Yeah,
probably
but
this.
well,
sorry, I'm in a lot of groups. This is how
it's
I find
okay.
things out for the community.
It's
It's fine.
okay.
Take your time.
There we go. There we
Mhm.
go. Yeah. So if you want to join our group in VR chat, you would just type in QCC period 7449. And if you want to find our Discord, it is discord.gg slash QCC. Super simple.
Very nice and simple.
Yep.
So we try to make it as
Nice
streamlined
and
as possible
simple.
to make it as easy as possible.
Wow.
And a little quick shout out to all our boosters for helping us keep and maintain that at such a small member count. Like, we've got to give them a quick shout out because they help us keep that professional tag. So,
Hmm. Well,
Oh yeah, and also a shout out to Black Rose Thorns from Chaotic Rose. That's another group that we've collabed with in the past, but they made our logo
oh wow.
and continue helping us. Them and a bunch of other people continue helping us. Bunch of stuff.
it's a very long
Also
list of
shout
shout
out.
outs that we could do, but
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Also shout out to our new staff. I'll just say that, and all our DJs.
our new staff members, we really appreciate a lot of them, like Smith here,
Yeah,
and
for sure. Oh, thanks.
Shloop and Roku-san. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
So, also some good news. If you're in the VR Plus group, or if you get in the VR Plus group, the Discord's also linked there, so that's another easy way to find it.
Yes, if
Mm.
you join the group through VR chat, our link is in our group for our Discord. So,
Oh wow. Well, again,
and I want to say thank you for having us here, and
not a
I
problem.
appreciate all
Oh,
the
yeah.
questions you
We,
have. It helps.
we appreciate having you. We really do.
Yeah.
We learned a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
you
for
guys
having
had
us.
really
It's been
great
quality.
questions, and you've helped air a lot of the issues that PC, especially people that have been around for a long time and don't really know about the side of it. You've asked all the right questions, so we really appreciate you having us.
Not a problem. Thank you very much for giving us the time to speak with us. That much is
Yeah.
very appreciated.
Thank you.
There's a saying I
Oh,
use:
boy, yes.
time is a currency you can only
Good to hear.
spend once, so it's very much appreciated.
Absolutely.
Yep.
With that said, folks, thank you for joining us in this video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye now. Oop. Oop.
Bye, folks. Oh, you forgot to cut me out again, huh? You're going to throw me to the curb, right? Yep,
Toodles.
yep, I figured you did.